Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments, but before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Greetings everybody at home. Happy New Year. Life Force Academy. I feel like 2024 is our year. Might as well feel like it. The only other option is you don't feel like it's your year. Or I guess maybe also, or if I'm not sure if it's my year. But it will be. Because we'll make it that way, you know what I mean? And of course, we can't control most of the outer circumstances of our lives. So we can't say like I can't realistically say this is going to be my year if I'm referencing predominantly the outer circumstances of my life. Like things are going to go, in other words, the way I wish for them to go. However, if I have conviction that no matter how things go, I'm going to make it my year by being able to
meet whatever is happening as it is with less pushing away the things that are painful and difficult, and less also grasping on to the things that are pleasurable. Of course, we want to grasp onto the things that are pleasurable because they're pleasurable. But grasping is not enjoying. Those are two different things. Grasping is an emotional state that has needs, is needy. And realistically, we all have needs, and we need to grasp, and we need to attach onto things. But slowly but surely, in little baby steps, we can be more clear on what it means to fulfill our basic needs versus clinging onto emotional stimulus that we feel like will fulfill our needs. Because we never know what our life is going to bring. And so that's really, to me, like the essence of Dharma practice is to be involved in that process, is less attaching onto things and less pushing away things. But that's hard. It's very simple, like philosophically. It's not hard to understand the concept, but it's very hard to embody and to practice because it kind of confronts the most vulnerable and tender parts of ourselves that often because there's such a vulnerable part of ourselves that then those are where our strong emotions can be found because they're there to kind of protect that space naturally. Don't you think? And it's like and there's a wisdom to that. That's not like a negative thing. There's a wisdom to that we should protect ourselves. We should kind of be as much as possible the master of our own domain, meaning meaning we are making the decisions about what we allow into our personal space and what we decide is not allowed in our personal space. Those are decisions we get to make if we have the emotional maturation to do so. And that's a process, because then what's also changing all the time? What is it that we desire? Who is it that we feel that we are? All of these things are fluid, and it's a constant rediscovery of who we are, life, isn't it? And so then, that's why the simple path of Dharma is just really two main things. It's wisdom, this is what we're talking about, cultivation of wisdom based on life experience. And the other is love, is compassion. And every step of the way, if there's compassion there to meet whatever it is that is really asking of those tender, vulnerable parts of ourselves to be expressed. And that takes courage in order to, because, like, for instance, say you feel like envious of like an ex, like a relationship that broke apart, and maybe it didn't break apart in the most harmonious of ways, and there's some spite there, or there's some jealousy of what's going on there, etc., etc. We all know what that feels like. And so, but the tenderness of the heart wants to still love, but we feel hurt, and so sometimes it feels good to be like, fuck them. It does, right? And that's part of the grieving process, and just the key is not to get stuck there, but because to get stuck there then is a state of misery, this self-inflicted misery. And actually the liberating thing is to love. And that can be done in difficult circumstances with the compassionate heart. Because even though I might feel upset with this person or the actions of this person, I know that if they did any harm, they only did that because they themselves are suffering too. That's the only way harm happens. And so then even though I'm going to have the wisdom to have personal boundary in what I now allow in my personal space and I don't allow in my personal space, I'll have that wisdom, but it won't lack compassion, you see? And that's how we can kind of hold our own ground in life and also not close our hearts to recognize the suffering of others in all circumstances. And that's why this simple thing of I like to start the new year with just arousing, so to speak, or reflecting upon the four, what the Buddha called the four boundless attitudes, or the four, sometimes called the four immeasurables. And that's number one is, or it's boundless love, which is the wish of happiness. You wish to be happy. Yeah? We all do. We all share that in common. Everybody does. And then the second is boundless compassion, which is the wish to not have to suffer. We all have that wish. We all don't wish to suffer. And then the third is where it starts to get really good, and that's called boundless joy. And that's when you find pleasure in other people's happiness and other people's pleasures. So that's that's a skill one can develop. It's a muscle you can develop, just like anything else. You might not everything do we come in already, those muscles developed. We have to develop them, and particularly with the mind, even more so with the body. Because the body is, you can see it change, you can touch it, you can injure it. But the mind is more subtle, isn't it? And so, but the patterns of the mind are tremendously persistent. And it takes more persistence in the other direction in order to change the patterns of the mind. And so, I think there's wisdom in realizing that things aren't just gonna, most often, things are not just going to change spontaneously. Things are going to change when we make them change. When we decide we want them to change, and then we do something about it. But sometimes we have to get suffering enough to get that much conviction, don't you think? Sometimes there's, even though that, well, I might be aware of some of my patterns that I would like them to change, but they're not really bothering me that much until they are, until something happens. And that often happens via relationship. A lot of the times we're fine with how we are, but that person we're living with is not. And you agreed to live with each other, or you agreed to be in this love affair with each other, or whatever it is, and you got to work it out. Is the patterns going to change, or is the relationship going to end? Basically, that's what it comes down to. If otherwise, things are okay. And so that's why relationships can be so wonderful, actually, because they put a spotlight on our own inner patterns that often would take much longer for us to recognize on our own. Yeah, so that's the yoga of relationship. Obviously, that's not all of what relationship is about, because that would be a drag, is to just reveal the patterns of the mind. But the idea in revealing the patterns of the mind is not because they're bad. It's because you get happy when they transform. You get more blissful. You get more happier when they transform. When suffering-provoking patterns start to transform into compassion patterns. So in other words, instead of feeling that kind of spite or that vengefulness or that jealousy or that bitterness, as soon as you feel it, you can take the simple practice of see if you can feel compassion for their suffering. See if you can first recognize that they're suffering, and see if you can feel compassion for that suffering when you're ready, But sooner the better. As soon as you feel like that's a realistic possibility for you. You know what I mean? I say it to myself, same process. And then, little by little, it's like you're the one getting happy. You know what I mean? It's less really about that other person. And it's more about you getting happier. And then the happier you get, then the better any relationship gets. And the more clear it is which ones you don't gonna spend any of your time on. because there's not happiness there. And so it's good. It's called, the clarity of inner confidence. And that creates all the prosperity in the world, because it puts you kind of squarely in the river current of Dharma, of the Dharma of one's life. So it's not that difficult, to go find the Dharma is not the thing. You already are the Dharma. You are everything about each of our lives already is our unique path through life, but aligning with that is what we mean when we say kind of seeking the Dharma, or getting in alignment with the Dharma of one's life. All we really need to do is to be, number one, involved in this patterning transformation, noticing the emotional tendencies that are making me suffer more, and then how do I transform those? Like, give myself a demerit? No, that's just self-compassion. You recognize your own suffering in those moments. So in both cases, whether it's going in the direction of the other person or in the direction of oneself, those are represented by the first and seventh houses of the zodiac. The first house is the first house of self. That's the eastern horizon where the sun rises. And the seventh house is the point where the sun sets, and that's the house of the other. And so in both cases, it's if it's difficult, it's recognizing that one is suffering, and then feeling the emotions that are arising due to that suffering, and meet those emotions with a feeling of kindness and compassion for oneself. And that thing it doesn't make it go away, because we're not trying to make it go away. In fact, we're embracing whatever life is bringing us, and the difficult things we can meet with the feeling of love. And whether it's a difficult thing with us, or a difficult thing with us and another person, or a difficult thing with us and the outer society, or the polarized, the incredibly, at this point of our lives, polarized divide in our society. And that's just a manifestation of a polarization that's happening on a much more subtle level. And so the more that each of us, how do you neutralize polarity? Is love. This is the only way. But it has to be functional love. Love is functional when it's encompassed, when it's in wisdom. The two-winged bird of the bodhicitta. The wisdom and compassion. So it's actually quite simple, and I like to keep that simple, because when things are difficult, we need to lean upon something that's super simple, not complicated philosophy or anything like that. So I'll just read this thing to you that I was reading before we started, and then we'll start to move our bodies, okay? This is this Tibetan master named Jigme Lingpa, and he's discussing the 4 balanced attitudes. Love means wishing for the happiness of others, like a loving mother cherishing her child. One's body, wealth, and virtue all amassed, one gives for others' benefit. So all the prosperity that we are amassing in our lives, we're offering that for others' benefits. And then it's like, well, what about me? That's the best thing I can do for me. Because as soon as I have a genuine care for the other, I'm immediately the first one that is benefiting. That makes bliss. Because it's not like, because it's moralistically right. No, it's participating in the innate interconnectivity of life that we're all already involved in all the time. So love means wishing for the happiness of others, like a loving mother cherishing her child. One's body, wealth, and virtue all amassed, one gives for others' benefit, while training to endure the harms that they inflict. This is wisdom. While training to endure the harms that they inflict, because as much as I might be loving towards another, that does not mean that they're coming back to me with the same energy. Compassion is a powerful state of mind, an inability to tolerate the fact that others suffer. Beings in the 6 realms are entrapped by sorrow and its cause, and seeing this brings tears to one's eyes. Joy is to delight in others' pleasure and success. It is to cultivate the wish that all have happiness. It is a joy one feels when they achieve it for themselves. Wouldn't that be great if you could feel the same type of joy when others get it like you would if you got it? That's what it's saying. That's something to aspire to, but again, it's like, oh, that's not me. I'm not like that. Not yet. But these are not something, it's like we either are or we aren't. We all have our starting point, but we can continually blossom. So it is to cultivate the wish that all have happiness. It is a joy one feels when they achieve it for themselves, and it is the wish that they should never be deprived of it. May their cup always overflow. And then finally, the 4th boundless attitude is impartiality, boundless equanimity. Impartiality is freedom from attachment and hostility. Those are the 2 sides of the same coin, attachment and hostility. When sides and factions are all seen as equal, when enemy and friend are, and neither are treated with an even-handed kindness. Enemies, friends, and neutrals. When sides and factions are all seen as equal, when enemy and friend and neither are all treated with an even-handed kindness. We should practice the 4 attitudes, remembering that all is without true existence. And he's referencing the teaching of emptiness, that all relative things are empty of any ultimate substance. Good and bad, up and down, female, male, etc., birth and death. That anything that exists within relative context lacks ultimate substance, lacks ultimate truth, ultimate reality. So, we all already kind of know that, though, deep down, because as soon as you bring yourself into a meditative space, all of that makes easy sense. But when we're swinging in the polarities of our life, that's hard to make sense of that. But what they call emptiness, which is often very difficult for us Westerners to understand, and also just humans to understand, because it means we need to be cultivating subtle perception. Subtle perception allows us to be able to be less polarized on each side. That's intuition. Developing the intuitive psyche is what yoga practice is all about, so that I can navigate my life with good wisdom and not be kind of pummeled by the waves of emotional difficulties when they arise. So anyhow, that anytime we go into the meditative state, it neutralizes the polarities, and out of that comes love, it comes bliss. That's what they call bliss, void, indivisible. It's like the womb of creation. She is love. It is love. It's beyond she and he. It's non-conceptual at that point. Because anything that we're going to conceive of and be able to talk about and discuss and think about even in our own mind relies on relativity, relies on comparisons, plus and minuses, good and bad, negative and positive. The meditative state is the great relief. It relieves you of all of that on our nervous systems. And it opens up the central channel to where you get real wisdom, real perspective on life. And the person who has the ability to kind of go into their meditative power and to open up that central channel, always you'll have the wisdom that you need to, no matter if this 2024 brings like great pleasures or great difficulties, you can still make it your year. But it'll take Shakti, you know? So that's all. Let's start the yoga practice. Happy New Year. Inhale. Exhale. Gurudev Perfect. Come on your hands and knees. Let's start to make the spine nice and supple. Cat-cow. You're going to be inhaling. The head is coming up. Exhaling, the head is coming down. And the key here, really to start, is make it soft. Make it light and make it soft. Because we're going about 3 minutes. Take the first 30, 45 seconds to just kind of soften into it. But it's less about making it really stretching the muscles along the back in this case. And it's more about establishing a nice fluid rhythm for yourself. There's not really a pause between the two positions. And if you start light and soft, but put the breath in through your nose. So the anchor point for every exercise is your breath. And the idea is to try not to let your mind just kind of wander aimlessly as you're practicing, but go through the mindfulness process of every time you notice your mind going elsewhere, bring it to your breath. And less about disciplining the mind and more about training the mind to enjoy life. Because guess what? Hanging out with the breath is very enjoyable. It's just difficult at first to get the mind to cooperate because it's been going in every other direction. But when it starts to centralize there, then it starts to feel really good. The mind relaxes, the vitality opens up. You feel the chi, the channels of life force in the body open up. Like you just left a good acupuncture appointment and you feel, wow, nice. And that's the key, isn't it? Especially when we're going through times of suffering, that we make sure we're doing what we need to do to feel good at the basic level. Feel good in our bodies, feel connected to who we are and what we're all about. Another 60 seconds. Also, it keeps the skin young, the body young. When you keep the cerebrospinal fluid healthy, everything stays young. The yogi's point for longevity and youthfulness is the first things first, is keep the spine supple. As soon as that spine starts to get kind of jerky, kind of rigid, the aging accelerates. So if you can do these little spinal exercises just a little bit every day, and not every day, then how about 3 times a week, Keep the chi flowing, keep the spinal fluid from becoming, it's like the battery fluid of the human organism. You pick the pace up a little just for the last bit. There you go. It's less controlling it, more let it swing. There it is. But the key is you don't always need to start that way. Some Kundalini yoga people, they just go straight in like spinal cow, 400 miles an hour, Pay attention to our body and meet ourselves where we're at today. That's the best place. It's the most joyful place. Because every other place is anticipation of where we're going or gotten stuck in where we've been. Inhale, head up. And life is passing us by. And exhale, head is down. And relax child's pose for a few moments. So for this 2024, we can have a practice of being present. And how do we do that unless we have an actual practice that puts it into our body? This is what a yoga sadhana is all about. The yoga practice is all about. Something I'm doing consistently, relatively so, that centers my life force in the nervous system, and therefore keeps the field of awareness expansive, because there's a calmness to the mind that allows that expansiveness to just naturally widen. Because when we feel strong, naturally, can kind of like you have a confidence about ourselves. We're not questioning. We're not plagued as much with self-doubt. Yeah, good. Come up and stretch the legs out like a V shape. And then like Charlotte is. And feet are flexed. Inhale, center. Turn to either side. Exhale, down. Yeah, like that. Stretch your legs open wide. Feet are flexed, but the groin area is relaxed. You lead with your heart with no concern about touching the toes. More about leading with the heart and leading with the navel. And every inhale, take a deep fill of the breath into your lungs. And then opening the life nerve. Not pressing it further than it wants to go. Feel into how your body is feeling, particularly at the life nerve. That's like the sciatic nerve. It comes down from the spine, through the butt, and down through the backs of your legs. And that's, step numero dos in longevity, youthfulness. Keep the spine supple and keep the life nerve open, but not inflamed. If you push it, it inflames. So breathe into it and open. Good. Inhale, center. And then exhale, and then fists like this, and like you're rowing a boat, like this. Like, keep your heart lifted up, like you're rowing a boat, just like that. Yep. All right, inhale, and come standing. Index finger to your thumbs, like Charlotte's doing. Eyes open, pick a single point to gaze your eyes. That's your point, okay? You're gonna... So inhaling, knees up to hip level, like Charlotte's doing. Right out of that New Year's Day slumber into the... Take it's like a light but powerful breath. It's like a sniff. Try to stretch your arms up on the inhale. Open the lymph. Get the energy flowing, get the blood circulating, get the breath into the body, rhythmic pranayama, rhythmic breathing. definitely some post-holiday break marching. All right, you're gonna have your arms out like this. And in this room, everybody face that side. Actually, face this side, and then you can see what Charlotte's doing. And fingers are firm and legs are strong. And take a deep inhale here, then you exhale down in this direction. Then you inhale, lift. And exhale down. Every inhale when you lift, draw your pelvic floor in. Use your core muscles. And every inhale, fill your lungs like a life force windmill. Go. Every inhale, direct breath into the bloodstream. And every inhale, draw in your core muscles. This time, we're building vitality. And it's not about a stretch, it's about building your inner vitality. And that means you need to engage at the level of your core. Exercise is always the hardest part. First you need those channels to open. The idea of the nadis, the subtle channels through which the chi, the prana flows, they're not even there until you activate them. They only exist when prana is flowing through them. It's quantum like that. Things appear and disappear within relativity. But if you go into that neutralized space, where it means every inhale, fill the lungs, bringing yourself into rhythm, using your breath to elevate, to stimulate vitality in your organism, to bring up your life force so that you feel good, feel in yourself, not worried about so much, generally relaxed. Core muscles. Inhale up. Fingers firm. Come on, legs strong. Fingers firm. Tight them. Exhale, relax. Can you turn the heat up a little bit? Everybody's still got like jackets and coats and socks on. All right, come sitting, please. Be up on your sit bones, okay? And that's why we often use cushions to make sure we're on our sit bones and not slouched over. Because you want, like this, lifted heart. Yeah, one vertical relationship. It's not uptight, but it's tall. You know, it's present. Hands are into your ankles, or shins. It's a very nice, light, rhythmic spinal flex. Numb, suck. Power sniff. It's light, but it has potency. The face is relaxed, though. The mind is relaxed, and you're able to just go. It's a lifting of the sternum. Chin is ever so slightly in. It's a lifting of the heart. sound really jerky. Soften that thing. Lighter. Gaze of the third eye. Smooth, you know, make it a little bit soulful. It's a love affair. It's a self-love affair. Inhale deep. Suspend the breath in, lift up the pelvic floor, rectum, sex organ, navel up and in. Exhale. Yeah, hands like this, up on your shoulders. Like this. And just let it swing. Inhale, center. Suspend. Exhale. Hands on your knees. Softening, yeah? Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, release. So check this out, O-shaped mouth. The breath is from your chest, like it's not with the cheeks. From the chest. It doesn't have to be aggressive though, you say. Can you do that? O-shaped mouth. Take your hands like this. So what happens when they come towards you, they close into fists. And then they open up and they turn away from you. Very short exercise. It's called building your chi, building your magnetism. Now, close your eyes, and if you can, open the eyes slightly and gaze to the tip of your nose and make the breath rhythm happen. Seconds. Give it a try. Make your hands into fists and squeeze your spine deep. Deep. Exhale. Inhale again. Make the fists, lift your pelvic floor. Squeeze the spine, squeeze the fists, squeeze the chest, squeeze the body. Exhale. One more. Squeeze the fist, lift the pelvic floor, squeeze the spine. Have some water. Same breath, lead with the heel of the palm. Lead with the heel of your palm, and all the power, my friends, comes from down here. Let it swing. Removing your obstacles. Move like you're literally like clarifying your domain. Removing the obstacles. O-shaped mouth. That chest breath stimulates the thymus gland, stimulating your immune vitality. Tip of the nose or eyes closed is perfection. Lead with the heel of the palm. These are the great warrior kriyas of Kundalini Yoga. From your navel. Come on, focus. Pay attention to your world, your energy, your body, your force, your desires, your fears, and work with them. Squeeze the spine. Exhale. Switch it. Tight. Fingers tight. Tight. Exhale. Switch it. Squeeze deep. Fingers tight. Exhale. Have some water. Last one. We're going to lay down. Then we're going to take all this and pop open our prosperity. Okay? Hands like this. Same breath. O-shaped chest. It comes from the chest, not from your lips or cheeks. Opening the heart prana. Use your hands, open your chest. Tip of the nose, make it meditative. Go. opening. You can feel your magnetic field like this. Give it a try. Swing it. It's almost over. Don't get, overwhelmed by the misery of it to the point where you can't get into the joy of it. The joy of opening. Stretch your tongue out maximum. Stretch your tongue out maximum. Stretch it. Squeeze the spine. Exhale. Inhale, please. Fingers tight like steel. Stretch your tongue maximum. Stretch it. Squeeze the spine. Exhale. Last one. Squeeze the spine, squeeze your fingers tight. Stretch your tongue, so stretch that undercord of your tongue. Stretch it, and relax. Just meditate for a moment. Let your breath flow naturally. Close your eyes down. And just observe your body's respiration, the mystery of the breath. Where does that breath, come from? Like a scientist will give us some kind of explanation, which will be correct from a material point of view, but then you ask, well, where does that come from? And if you keep asking that, where does that come from? You can't ever track it. You can't track it. And so religions will call that, will say it comes from God. But that's just an idea. And so even that, what that may or may not be G-O-D, is non-conceptual, you see. And so instead of worrying about that so much in the context of yoga or meditation practice, it's going beyond concepts and experiencing directly what things are. Relax, please, onto your back. And then if we love our religion, that'll inform our religion, it'll give life to it. It won't be in, no true spirituality is in opposition to direct experience. Relax your legs out, please. Relax your arms out. Relax. It's just a few minutes, but just go fully relax. Move the fingers and toes. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. And then rub the palms, make some warmth, some friction, rub the soles of the feet. And cat stretch to each side. Hug the knees to the chest, come up. And so for this last stretch here, we're going to kind of envision our path ahead and what we would like for ourselves, what we would like to embody, what we would like to bring forth in our lives. And I like that kind of semantic of what we would like to bring forth, because sometimes we feel, oh, I wish I can have prosperity, please come, you know. I don't really think it works like that, you know. It's not from like a begging, you know. It's from it comes from a magnetism, and that magnetism comes from us actually getting more into the depth of our life, into the real kind of potency of who we are, being in alignment with what life wishes of us, actually. And then prosperity will flow. However, these wonderful Kundalini Yoga Kriyas do give some direct effect in that. In fact, there's a whole category of prosperity Kriyas of Kundalini Yoga that every year we use this time of the year in Life Force Academy with our prosperity work for the new year. And this year, starting on the 9th of January, is our 9th annual prosperity meditation challenge. And so what we're going to do in this next 15-20 minutes is these final meditations, is these prosperity kriyas that we'll all be doing together throughout the world for 11 consecutive days starting on January the 9th in Life Force Academy. It's about from beginning to end, about a 20-minute experience. Like when you're at home, you can do it whenever you want. You push play to being done. It's about 20 minutes, I think. Or is it 30? I don't remember. It's 30? It's under 30. It's less time than most of us are spending on Instagram in the morning. Let's be real. And for 11 days. That's all it's saying. And do this thing. It's short enough that it's reasonable. Anybody can fit that into their routine for 11 days if they really want to. And yet it's substantive enough that it will have a direct experiential effect. And then also very subtle effects that you'll have to experiment with for yourself to understand. Okay? But here we go like this. So first things first, you kind of close your eyes and set a little bit of an intent for yourself. Close your eyes and consult inwardly. What is it that you're wishing for your life? Not in the great future, but in the really the present now. And right before it, what are the desires of your heart right now? If you really go deeper down, maybe a little bit below the surface desires. Ooh, I really want it. Ooh, what's underneath all of that? If it's even like the wish for, practically, I need more money. Go a little deeper down. Like, what is that? I want to feel safe, I want to feel prosperous. I want to feel taken care of. I don't want to have anxiousness around that. And I do want to have a feeling of abundance. Often it's the feeling of prosperity that precedes the actualization of monetary prosperity. So if one can get themselves into the feeling of it and start to cultivate it on a regular basis for a selected period of time, now you're exercising that muscle. and you're strengthening it so it works for you in your life, not just during a meditation practice. So have an intent, and then if you can give that intent, that heart's desire, a single word, like whether it's prosperity, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's whatever it may be, freedom, relaxation, relief, safe, whatever that word, just give it. And the word doesn't need to, you don't need to feel like the word defines it in its definition. You're just giving any word to be the representing symbol of your heart's wish for this opening gateway we're passing through. Okay? Now once you have that word, you see it and let it disappear. And knowing that's like planting the seed into the universal field. Now take your hands, index fingers to thumb like this, and then press your hands back so like your shoulder blades are trying to touch. Okay? Like this. Now it's called the Trinity breath. What you're gonna do, I'll show. It's a 2-stroke inhalation and a 1-stroke exhalation. Like. So it's 2-stroke through the O-shaped mouth, and then through the nose, 1-stroke exhale. And you have to use the navel, particularly on the exhale. You draw your navel in to lift up the diaphragm, to push out the air. You close your eyes down and you centralize your energy by merging your mind into the breath rhythm. Try to keep your chest out, and your chin slightly, and your shoulder blades like they're trying to press against each other. Difficult exercise, but use your diaphragm and breathe those 2 strokes really powerfully to open up the clogged center. Use your breath to help your pituitary. The pituitary, which is at the end of your nose, the root of the nose, has to adjust. Give it a chance. It's not the time, it's just doing it. It's not the practice. It's in the perfecting it. This can give you a strength which we've never felt before. nose. Press your hands together in like a prayer mudra, but press them very powerfully. Lift up your pelvic floor, like perineum, rectum, sex organ area. Navel up and in. Press the hands. And exhale. Inhale. Lift the pelvic floor. Press the hands so strong that they shake. Press them so they shake. Come on. Exhale. One more. Stretch your both hands above the head and stretch open the spine. Shoulder blades release, fingers tight, touch the ceiling. Inhale some more, stretch up, stretch up, stretch up. Exhale. Bravo. Good. Right, that's not a bad way to start your day. The reason why it's 30 minutes, by the way, is because at the beginning it includes like some spinal flexes, some spinal twists, just little warm-ups. Then you go into the meditations. And the idea there is this, okay, like this next part, any astrologer can tell you that that good fortune comes whenever the moon and Jupiter communicate in some way or another, whether via conjunction or via aspect or via some other what they call yogas or combinations in astrology. And the Jyotish, Vedic astrologer, also can tell you that that the index finger is the Jupiter antenna. And Jupiter is not Jupiter. It is, but it's not only Jupiter in the sky. It's Jupiter as the force of life, the force of wisdom, the force of good fortune and dharma, prosperity. Jupiter in India is called Guru. And so then they can also tell you that this part of the hand here is the moon center of the hand. And so in this kriya, where you're using a mantra, you're using your own sound current, and you're bringing that Jupiter and moon center together in great rhythmic fashion. Don't you? Are you excited? This one is we're only going to do for 3 minutes, and then there's one final one, but you'll be using the same mantra in the final part. Okay? So this mantra is HUD. It's like a H-A, HUD, HUD. It's a soft rolled R's. Or you can just, it's retroflex, so it means that the tip of your tongue strikes your upper palate when you say it. So it's not hard. In other words, it's HUD, HUD, HUD. And when you chant HUD, the navel, which is the abdomen just underneath your belly button, comes up. HUD, 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 HUD. It's the penetrating mantra, penetrating force. HUD, HUD. Yeah, that's how you chant it. Tip of the tongue, navel point. Like that. Now check it. You go HUD, HUD. So moon center strike, Jupiter fingers strike. When the index fingers strike together, the right thumb crosses underneath the left. HUD. Like that. Everybody got it? Yeah. Now, communication, prosperity. This is a prosperity kriya. But it'll only work if you're paying attention. Close your eyes down. Then open the eyes just a touch and gaze towards the tip of the nose. And vibrate. That word that you created just a little while ago, bring it into your vision, and now chant. creating your own prosperity combination. Chant it out. Like an ancient ritual. Primal. Trance-like. Go. Tongue, head, navel point, rhythm, nicely cupped, like an overflowing cup. See that word and feel like that it's just being showered down with all its blessings, like an overflowing cup. Hold the position through your nose, exhale. Let it all dissolve, then inhale. Bring it back into focus. Open, soft heart. It's easy, like an overflowing cup. It's perfect. Exhale. Inhale. See that word? And it's already there. It's already happening. Merge into it. Let it go. Last part. Take your hands, Jnana Mudra, to about the height of your ears. Index finger is called the wisdom seal. Index finger, Jupiter, to the thumb. The thumb is your sense of self. Jupiter is your sense of wisdom. Chest lifted and your sense of prosperity. Okay? Now, what you're going to do, same posture, close your eyes, chant the mantra. It brings you luck and prosperity, this meditation, called the Spring Grain Prosperity Meditation, to change your luck. It starts the new season well. It brings mental clarity, mindfulness. thinking necessary. The only job at this point is to listen to the mantra, meditate at the tip of the tongue, and put the navel in rhythm. It's like a courtship, you know? It's a little stimulation, tongue to the upper palate. Hypnotic, penetrating, and soft, rhythmic. Gaze of the third eye, the intuitive psyche, drawing the optic and inner gaze, where the root of the nose meets your skull bone. Chant the mantra. Go into the mantra. Let it be like a vehicle for you. It transports you into the prosperity state, space, chant, rhythm. Vibrate the cosmos. Cosmos clear the path. Give the sound of the mantra. Let it be the voice of the heart. You know what I mean? seconds, focus. Tip of the tongue, upper belly. Inhale. Now visualize your hands enveloped in like an emerald green. Visualize your hands in like an emerald green, a beautiful spring green. And hold the posture and through your nose, exhale. And inhale. And imagine that there's an emerald green light surrounding your hands. Like beautiful, the very energy of prosperity. And hold the position through your nose, exhale. Inhale deeply. And visualize your hands surrounded in an emerald green light. Then exhale and relax into a meditative position. Close your eyes. And see that symbol of yours, that word. And just beam your attention on it for a moment. And then let it kind of just dissipate with like in a blissful way. It's just like dissolves into the ethers. Like beautiful, like perfect. Like a rainbow dissolving back into space, fading away. And then all that's left in its wake is a feeling of total bliss and contentment. And then take the hands into the prayer pose. And then bring a loved one into your mind and your heart, someone, whoever arises in your mind at this moment, and give that same wish for them. And then if you can, also if you can just feel the presence of all sentient things, all feeling beings, all beings capable of feeling. And then if you can just kind of put that same wish into the interconnected web of life, we're all interwoven with each other in some essential way. Satnam. There it is. Well, good job, everyone. Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. And yeah, so you can see if you go through that little process every day. A little bit more elaborate tonight. When is the webcast, though? This week. We've been in holiday mode. It's this week. It's like Wednesday or something, and we'll let you know about it. It's amazing. None of us know. It's on our calendar. We'll find it. And it's this week, and it's going to be awesome. We're not sure when it is. And but then we do know when the 11-day challenge starts, and that's on the 9th of January. So if you're not already in, all of you at home, that was partly why we opened up tonight. for everyone to get a taste of this. Also, just to do this tonight. But also, if you want to be a part of the Life Force Academy, it's just $1 to do this, to try it. And we're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome. It's an 11-day challenge. So, and you can do it at any time. You don't have to be there for live broadcast, which we will be doing some of those, but it's all just like totally flexible. It works for your time schedule and everything like that. So, have a great night, everybody. Satnam, thanks for being here. And see you whenever that webcast is. Oh, also, by the way, Charlotte teaches every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m., whether we're prosperity challenging or not. So that's also everybody at home in Life Force Academy. Everybody loves Charlotte's classes. I haven't heard anyone trash it yet. And in fact, they won't shut up about how good it is. So that's great. I know, I heard. But I'm practicing the third boundless attitude. I'm like, all right, love y'all. Thank you. Thanks, Aki. Thank you, team, for being here on a holiday. And adios. Satnam. But you're wired somehow. Like you have a certain way of existing that is absolutely natural and skillful for you. It's you're talented in that way. It's how your heart expresses itself. It's how you get inside of love, and how love expresses itself uniquely through you.
If you have a mind, you have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.